Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be looking at sections, right? Now, in the previous video, we looked at first angle projection. Perhaps you could visit that video to see the principles of first angle projection. How do you draw a 3D object in 2D views, okay? So the topic sections is represented by the first angle projection drawing and also the third angle projection drawing, but we are looking at the first angle projection drawing in today's video. Good. Now, sections, an example of a section drawing is shown on the left, the drawing on the left. What it is showing the front elevation, that is section. And because it is section, it now has the name section XX. While the drawing on the right of the screen is a regular end elevation, right? So that drawing was not sectioned in today's video, right? So we have the section drawing on the left and a regular drawing end elevation on the right, okay? So here we have our 3D view, and we are using isometric projection to represent the 3D view of an block, right? A block that has a shape of a L, if you want to consider it like that, right? So the isometric projection is representing the block that is shown below the words isometric projection. In the introduction for this video, we mentioned that in a previous video, we looked at the isometric drawing, which is a three-dimensional drawing, okay? One method to represent a three-dimensional object on a drawing, okay? Now, on the screen is a object, yes, and we're going to draw this. We're going to move from a three-dimensional drawing, a 3D drawing, to a 2D drawing. Okay, and the 2D drawing that we will be using today to represent this three-dimensional object is called first angle projection. All right. So here we have the object, right? And in the first instance, we'll be looking at in the direction of A, then B, then C, then D, okay? So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna draw the view that will be seen from the arrow A, then the view from the arrow looking in the direction of arrow B, then the view seen in the direction of C, and finally the view seen in the direction of D, okay? Now, if you want, you could pause the video, get a pen, pencil, or a sheet of paper, and sketch the two-dimensional view, the 2D view that you would see looking in A, then B, then C, and then D, and then you can resume the video. For those who don't want to do it like that, you can continue with the video, okay? So it's optional for you at this point, all right? So looking in the direction of A, as shown in the previous slide or the previous picture of the three-dimensional view drawn in isometric projection, when we look in the direction of the arrow A, this is the view that we would see of the object, okay? If you got it right, good job. Now the next thing we will move into is a view that we see looking from the direction B as indicated by the arrow, okay? Okay. The next step is to draw the view that we would see looking above in the direction of the arrow labeled B. And this is the view or the drawing that we would see, the two-dimensional drawing that we would see looking from the direction of the arrow labeled B in the previous in the video that showed the three-dimensional object drawn in isometric projection. All right, the third view that we'll be looking, that we'll be getting from the three-dimensional object is looking in the direction of the arrow labeled C in the isometric drawing, which is the three-dimensional drawing, right? This is what the view would be when you look in the direction of the arrow labeled C. Okay? Good job if you got it correctly, if you chose to sketch the thing before we presented the answer. Okay? The fourth view that we would see looking at the three-dimensional object that is drawn in isometric projection is a view looking in the direction of the arrow labeled D. So on the screen is a view that we would see looking in the direction of the arrow D. So here we have the outline. It will be a square for today's class. This line is a hidden detail line because a hidden detail line represents a hidden edge. In a previous video, we looked at how to draw a hidden detail line in AutoCAD. So perhaps you could visit that line if you're not sure how to draw the line in hidden detail lines, right? So this line that appears to be broken, it's called a hidden detail line. So perhaps you could visit the video if you want to learn how to draw the line, a hidden detail line in AutoCAD. All right. So a hidden detail line represents a hidden edge. So behind this face, if you want to call it a face, behind it, there's a line that is hidden behind this face. Okay. If you want to call this surface, if you want to call this a face. So behind this box, which represents the end view, yes, there's a hidden line behind it, right, on the other side, all right? So this is the view that you would see looking in the direction of D, the arrowed label D, all right? So here we have the different views that you would see. So looking in the direction of the arrow labeled A, we would see the front view. Looking from the direction of the arrow that is labeled B, we would see the top view. Looking in the direction of the arrow labeled C, we would see the side view, right? And looking in the direction of D, we will also see another side view, right, of the object. So you're going to see two side views, one front view and one top view, okay? Now, in the previous slide or screen, we looked at the labels that would be associated with the different views that you would see from arrows A, B, C, and D. All right. In first angle projection, yes, the front elevation, which would be the front view, is called the front elevation. Good. The plan view would be the name of the top view seen in the direction of B. Looking in the direction of C, which would be the side view, the terminology or the name for this view in first angle projection is called the end elevation. The view that is seen from looking in the direction of the arrow D is called the end elevation. All right, good. Okay, so we have our first angle projection, and this is our front elevation. Okay, and it is looking in the direction of the arrow labeled A. Now, when you're doing first angle projection, you don't necessarily have to write the letter A. It's just for our explanation in today's video so that you could follow through a little bit better. I labeled it A, but the correct name that would be labeled in the first angle projection drawing is just the front elevation. So you wouldn't have to write the letter A, okay? All right, the next view that we would see in our first angle projection drawing, right? The 2D drawing of the three-dimensional object that was drawn in isometric projection is a plan view. So the top view is called the plan view, okay? All right, the next view that we would have drawn is looking in the direction of the arrow labeled C. And in the previous slide or the previous picture, right, of this video, right, this this was labeled as the side view. Just for an explanation. We're moving from a 3D drawing represented by the first angle projection, right? And the side view, the first angle projection name for it is the end elevation. All right. Okay. So the other side view, which was seen looking in the direction of D, the correct name for it in the first angle projection drawing is called the end elevation. And again, we don't need to write these labels labeled A, B, C, and D. When we say end elevation, it is understood the direction that we are looking from. Okay, just for explanation for today's video to help you to understand what the two-dimensional drawing would look like from a 3D drawing drawn in isometric projection. I label the different views for your A, B, C, D. Okay? All right, so recap. We're representing a 3D object in a 2D drawing. And 2D drawing for today is first angle projection. Okay? So these are the four views that we would be looking at the three-dimensional object to represent it, the object in 2D in a 2D drawing. So we'll be looking from A, B, C, and D. What I'm gonna do now is show you how the views that we saw previously, how are they layout? How are the four drawings set out in the first angle projection drawing, okay? Okay, we looked at that short while ago. We looked at the isometric projection of the 3D drawing, representing the 3D drawing, right? Now, we are now showing you how the four different views, how they are placed in a first angle drawing or first angle projection drawing, okay? So here we have the view seen in A, from the arrow A, then the view seen from the arrow B, then the view seen from arrow C, then the view seen from arrow D. Okay? So this would be the final label of the four views, right? So looking from A, we have the front elevation. Looking from B, we have the plan. Looking from C, we have the end elevation. Looking from D, we have the end elevation, right? So on your first angle projection drawing, right, you would not have those labels A, B, C, and D on it, right? It's just for our introduction of this new concept to move from a 3D drawing to a 2D drawing. I label it A, B, C, D to help you to convert or move from the 3D drawing to the 2D drawing, okay? This is what the final drawing for the first angle projection of the object would look like. So we would have the front elevation, the plan, the end elevation, and end elevation. We wouldn't have those alphabets, the letters under the, the labels, front elevation and plan, and end elevation, as was shown before. As I said, I labeled them to help you to move from the 3D drawing, which was drawn in isometric projection, to the 2D drawing, which in this video we looked at the first angle projection. All right, so this is what the finished drawing would look like without the labels A, B, C, and D. Okay. Okay, we have completed the first angle projection of the isometric block that was given. And what we're going to do next, we're actually going to section two of these views, okay? So I'm going to show you now how you're going to section them, okay? This brings us to the end of part one of a two-part series of videos for the topic section. So see you in the next video labeled part 2 of 2. Thanks for watching the video and don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment and share.